Hi Taurus, here is a general look at your solar chart for September 2015. There's a shifting of energy now with Jupiter getting settled into Virgo, a fellow Earth sign, and Saturn shifting finally out of your opposite sign and going into Sagittarius, but more on that in a minute. There's going to be a sort of brighter, more upbeat vibration around. But also there's going to be you focusing your mind on the practicalities of things and maybe even feeling a bit nostalgic at times, harking back to the past at times. That's because your ruling planet Venus and Mars are in the same area at the very root, the very nadir of your chart. There's, as I say, a brighter vibration where the sun is, though, and that might mean more emphasis given to leisure activities or activities connected to children or young people energy, or pets. It can even make you feel sort of center stage and admiring eyes coming in your direction, hopefully. Or maybe center stage for another reason. But you're more likely to feel the light of appreciation in other people's eyes, and participating in activities that you find you get a lot out of. They are empowering activities that might be the sort of kind of stereotypical ones through art, or just more playful activities through leisure. But there might be work. It might be work, and it just might be that you are connecting to that sort of more leisure side of things. Mercury is, I say, focusing your mind on repairs, maintenance, that kind of thing. You're just keeping a weather eye maybe on those sorts of things, or maybe you really do. You know, this is the time where you have to tackle these jobs which have been pushed on one side, or, you know, you just got to blow the dust off jobs that you've been trying to get round to or just forgotten about. Maybe it's not like that. Maybe it's to do with health, that kind of thing. There is an aspect going on, not a really strong one this month, but between Mercury and Uranus. So that might mean that you are thinking outside of the box a bit more, or maybe you're being rushed and hasty at times in your thinking, or maybe it's not you, maybe it's somebody who's giving their opinion on something which is rushed and hasty, is not the full sort of rounded picture. So again, a second opinion might be a good idea, although it might not be like that at all. It might be more on the scientific or technological side, so maybe you are scratching your head and tearing out your hair, sort of trying to upload Windows 10 or something, or trying to figure out how a new piece of kit works, something like that. But with Mercury in this position here, your practical advice to somebody else will be perhaps more needed, or indeed their practical advice to you could be more needed, whether that's to do with health matters, job, skills, methods, bits of kit, bits of equipment, whatever it is. Now, as I say, Venus and Mars are both in the same area, and Venus is warming things up, beaming at this her friendly, harmonizing, balancing light into the root of your life, into your emotions, into the root of your chart. And then Mars is in there looking for action. Mars is action man. So it's Barbie and Ken at the root of your chart. This means that you could be busier than usual in and around HQ or a base of operations, whether that's at home or somewhere else that you're based. And of course, outside as well, you know, digging the veggie plot and definitely being more self-sufficient. But physical effort is generally needed where Mars is, or just more physical demand on us, more stamina demanded of us. So that might be to do with this base of operations. It might not be anything to do with the veggie plot. It might be that you are getting out and about more, socializing more, and maybe even more people coming into your space as well. Just more hustle and bustle around you. Or maybe wherever you are based is not your home, but there is more hustle and bustle around you. However, this nostalgia thing can creep up. with the emphasis on this area here, this looking back into the past, this mulling things over. Skeletons maybe start rattling in the closet. On the other hand, you could be quite happily and voluntarily putting your energies into something connecting you with tradition, with the past, with family, within a neighborhood, within a community, which is all under the umbrella of this house of your chart. And also very good to connect more with Mother Nature, with Barbie and Ken at the root of your chart. For some parents, for some of you, parents themselves or parenting, you know, the concept or concepts related to parenting could be more on your mind. Okay, and then we have we've got Saturn shifting, and I'm just going to hop across to Saturn, because Saturn is shifting out of your opposite sign. So, you know, round of applause maybe from some of you for that, meaning that you wouldn't have to be working so hard to try and make sense of an opposite number's requirements or opinions, moods, actions. You wouldn't have to work so hard at balancing your needs and plans with theirs, what your expectations are with their expectations. You know, definitely the team of horses pulling maybe sometimes in two different directions, or maybe it's not like that. Maybe it can be that you've just felt a lack of anybody special there to relate with in this very sort of close personal partnership area of your life. Or maybe you've just been having difficulties with partners, whether those are in a business sense or in your personal life. But compromise has been the order of the day. And also it has been perhaps a make or break, a breaking a relationship for some of you, but also a making a relationship for some of you who want to put it on a formal footing and tie the knot. So it just means taking a relationship more seriously. And now Saturn has moved, well, actually is moving on the 17th for 2 years out of Scorpio and into Sagittarius, putting Saturn in your 8th house. And there maybe you feel, you might be feeling at some stage over that transit of 2 years, a lack of some resource that you've been used to, at something that you've been able to rely on. Or maybe there's some kind of decision that has to be made around a resource. That might be financial, might be to do with property, possessions. It might be in a friendship or a closer sort of love relationship. There will be some kind of feeling of this isn't working, or it's not there anymore, or if it's not like that, it might be, I need to get me some of this. I need to get some support. This feeling of being enabled, being held, being facilitated in some way. Because wherever Saturn goes, we tend to, all of a sudden, after going around for years and years and years, tolerating things, not even tolerating, being quite happy with things, we start to feel a lack in the area that Saturn is in. And actual physical manifestations can happen, like somebody leaves our life, or they're not as nearby as they used to be, or available, or something is no longer in our life, like, you know, it might be to do with work or whatever. But this is a transition house. This is a gear change house. So over this 2-year transit, as and when things bubble up, and then you're dealing with those things and learning from those things and making decisions to do with what has actually come up, you will be learning how to work within a previous arrangement or contract, honor it, but at the same time find the loophole, at the same time find a way of being able to be in control of your own little patch, because there's something about this area which means that we don't have the control over the circumstances, in other words, circumstances beyond our control, because somebody else is in the mix that we have to defer to, that you have to get a mandate from, an endorsement from. It's often that kind of a way. So this is honoring that, or dealing with it, but also getting the control that you need and then building from there in maybe an area which is more private, if that's what you want. And maybe not like that, maybe just to modify or tweak a prior agreement or arrangement. And whatever it is, it will be gradual, probably. You will have to sort of chip away at it. But slowly you will get to, you know, within the parameters, you will get to something which is more comfortable, maybe more healthy. And there's a removal of something. So there's a letting go going on in this house, often. Even some things that we didn't think we could let go of, you have to make the space. So it might just be an attitude. It might not be a physical object, or money, or whatever else. You know, it might just be an expectation. It might be an attitude. It might just be a shift in perception. It might just be that. So there has to be a letting go, or there can be this feeling that that thing has been removed, you see. So anyway, whoops. You will just feel that this support system that was there has, you know, you're not getting from it what you used to, or it's gone, or indeed you're deciding that you need to move from that support system to another support system. It could be like that as well. So it doesn't have to be out of your control. In fact, I would say that with this shift of Jupiter into Virgo, you're going to be getting some really supportive energy coming from there. So whatever's going on in this segment where Saturn is, it will be offset and balanced out by what can be achieved and what progress can be made from where the position of Jupiter is over the next year. So either way, you're going to be transitioning into a fresh perspective and getting rid of some of the ballast from the past, and really genuinely getting rid of that, you know, because you don't need to carry that around. Some of it, of course, we always need our really, really special memories, but maybe some of it. And now from the 25th, Mars is in a more spontaneous and for some romantic area. This is a really nice position for Mars. Well, it depends on how you handle it, but it should be. It can be mean that, again, you get this feeling of appreciation coming your way. And then it's the same area as the Sun was in, actually. Sun moved out of there on the 23rd, but then Mars goes in there on the 25th. So then you're not so much harking back to the past. Then you're more in your power. Then you're more in your creative energy. Then you've got more access to leisure pursuits or connecting with children, that sort of kind of the energy of the child, more of the lighter energy, the competitive energy there, but maybe also just doing something that you do get a kick out of, you do get a lot out of. And it's great for the entrepreneurs among you. You know, if you want to launch something, if you want to do something artistic, you want to be creative and competitive, this is very, very good transit for you, and even taking a chance on something, that could also be part of this, as long as you're sensible. And then from the 23rd, you could be dealing with more chores or niggly details because the Sun goes in there. But that's just putting more that type of thing center stage, being organized and seeing to running repairs, figuring out how something works, dealing with health matters, maybe some of you, the to-do list, and just getting your act together. Now, there are other things going on this month. I've said already there's a major shift from because of Saturn and Jupiter moving. Saturn is moving on the 17th into Sagittarius, taking the emphasis away from the fixed signs and putting it into the mutable signs. So actually you're a fixed sign, so that heaviness won't be so much coming across to the fixed signs. It will be actually coming across to the mutable signs. When I say heaviness, I mean like this more serious energy, which says, okay, you know, wake up, smell the coffee, get with the program, and be real. Be real. You know, just get it to work in the way that you want it to now, because all this shilly-shallying is over. So that energy is actually moving away from the fixed signs and going into the mutable signs. And then Jupiter is going into Virgo, and also putting the emphasis on the mutable signs. And then Jupiter is taking the emphasis away from the air and fire signs and putting it into the earth and water signs. So they are going to benefit from this facilitating energy, or this energy of potential, huge potential, always with Jupiter in different areas of life. Excuse me. And you are an earth sign. So over this next 12 months, well, until next September, you're going to be enjoying the opportunities that Jupiter brings your way. And Jupiter is a planet of potential abundance. She's the planet of, he's the planet of expansion. Well, it is the planet of expansion, and will influence your sun sign until next September. So this is a time when you're likely to feel more appreciated for who you are in a playful or even romantic sense. And that seems to be good news. Also, maybe having more connection with those who are playful, romantic, or just children, you know. Animals as well comes in here. And it can be quite a self-indulgent energy, but it's an energy of with lots of promise. And there may be admiring glances coming your way, but also it might not be like that. Maybe you are you know, a creative. Maybe you are doing something enterprising. Maybe you're launching into something new. Maybe it's something like that. And really, it's pushing the boundaries. Really, it's pushing the envelopes in these more sort of fun, interesting, creative areas. And also to do with just really feeling valued by another. You Taurians born from the 23rd of April to the 1st of May with 3 to 11 degrees rising are going to feel that energy the most. Now, there's something else going on this month between Jupiter and Neptune, as well as a lunar eclipse in the sign before yours, Aries, which means a sort of a gentle look at the past and then a new beginning going on into the future maybe. And this aspect between Jupiter and Neptune, rather head in the clouds, this one. When these two to get together by degree, we must try harder to prioritize and be organized in a way which is realistic. So don't bite off more than you can chew, related to maybe groups, friendships, and all of the area that I was just mentioning before, but also with really feeling as though you're making progress now, and don't try to go too far too fast. Maybe that would be like it, or maybe it wouldn't be. Maybe it'll be something a little bit different, like somebody's being elusive or unreliable, and it might even be you. So and that's neither good or bad depending on your situation, but just be aware of that. However, this eclipse, this total lunar eclipse happening on the 28th, will tend to stabilize that rather sort of wifty-wafty, airy-fairy energy. That sort of ambiguity or confusion or uncertainty about something tends to stabilize it, but from the 28th, although I have to say it usually starts a little bit before, even though the eclipse doesn't happen till the 28th. So it does help to settle things and keep it real. And that is it for September. If you know your rising sign and your moon sign, listen to those. And also the bones of this is written up on my website. You can find it there. And I will see you the next